Hello everybody and welcome to a very special top 10 board gaming video about games that I still need to play. So I'm really excited about this because this is all about your guys' comments and messages all throughout the years of games that you have recommended to me that I just haven't got around to. They may have been games that I had heard of and not played, or not heard of at all but sounded really amazing. Games that I had played but just didn't give enough of a chance to, or something along those lines. The fact is that there are tens of thousands and thousands of games that I haven't played, but these are the ones that you guys have really recommended and that I'm so excited to try and play at some point. So obviously it's going to be a little bit of a different video, but I'm super excited about it, and so we're just going to jump. At number 10, I've got Through the Ages, A Story of Civilization. Relatively recently, this got a reprint for a second edition, and I've been wanting to play this for years. Mostly because people have told me that it is a very complex game on par with something like Civilization and the like, and the fact is I just want to see it for myself. I want to see how it does that, how it's capable of it, as well as maintaining such high rankings on Board Game Geek. It's just something that has intrigued me ever since I started, essentially, and so I just want to play it. And that's why Through the Ages is my number 10. At number 9, I've got Imperial Settlers. This is a game that's been recommended mostly as a replacement for other games in that it does some certain mechanics a little bit better. It's kind of like a better Settlers of Catan type of thing where you've got, resource management, hexes, all of that kind of stuff. And I remember people were playing it non-stop for months not too long ago, and I'm just sort of like, what's with this game? I honestly don't know. I still haven't played it. So Imperial Settlers is my number 9. At number 8, I've got Massive Darkness. I love these types of games where you've got this cool asymmetry, you've got dungeon delving, you've got collection, you've got advancement of your characters, you've got all of this kind of stuff. I've seen it played, I've wanted to play it, I've read reviews, I've done all that stuff, and I absolutely love the idea of how it's done. I just haven't had a chance, and it's so frustrating, and I'm really upset because I missed the Kickstarter and I was this close to actually backing it. So this one really irks me in particular, but regardless, Massive Darkness is my number 8. At number 7, I've got Detective as well as Chronicles of Crime. These are two games that were released not too long ago and relatively close together as well. And the thing is, these are both really good, hard-boiled detective type of games. I love myself some Time Stories and Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective and all these types of things, and everybody was recommending these too. I hadn't heard of them at the time, but then as soon as I started reading, I saw everybody rants and raves about how amazing they are, and so I was like, yes, I need to play these. I love the idea, I love how they're presented, and unfortunately I just haven't had a chance. So both Detective as well as Chronicles of Crime collectively, since they're very, very similar in how they work, are my number 7. At number 6, I've got Pandemic Iberia. Now, Pandemic has been starting to rub me kind of the wrong way because we've got a ton of expansions, we've got a ridiculous number of spin-offs, and it's just starting to feel munchkin-y. But the thing is that a lot of people say Iberia is one of the most unique and best implementations of the Pandemic style of game. And honestly, I don't know entirely what's different about it, but it's like from what people have said and some of the minor reviews at least that I've read about it, it seems like it would be really intriguing, and I'm kind of curious to see one of these spin-offs do really well because I've tried a few of them and I have not liked them, not to mention the later expansions, really didn't enjoy them. But I am anxious to see how Pandemic Iberia does, and so that's why it's on this list and my number 6. At number 5, I've got Brass. This has left a hole in my heart ever since I missed out on the Kickstarter, because there were actually 2 different versions of this game that were kickstarted. There was Brass Lancaster and then Brass something else. I don't remember what the other one was. The thing is that before the reprint and the re-Kickstarter thing happened, this game was on my list, the original edition, and then they came out with 2 new ones and I didn't do the Kickstarter. And the games are both amazing. And it sucks because I haven't played them. and I really, really want to. And so I've just been kicking myself ever since that Kickstarter ended because I was really, really close to backing it, but I just couldn't do it at the time. And I've heard people talk about it and how amazing it is, and I love the idea of it. I love the setting, the Victorian England, all that kind of thing. It just seems like an absolutely incredible game. And like I said, I've wanted it ever since the original editions came out, not to mention the 2 new ones, the Lancashire and whatever the other one is. But with that, the Brass is my number 5. At number 4, I've got Lord of the Rings, War of the Ring. This is another one that got a recent upgrade to its edition, and people have been talking pretty much nonstop about it. It's like a really well done war game. It's well designed. It integrates the IP very well. And the thing is, I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. I have not played very good Lord of the Rings games except for the card game, and so I would love to give this one a whirl. I'm not a huge fan of war games in general, but people have told me, and I've read some reviews that say it's not super traditional in how it approaches the war game genre, so I would just love to see how it does it, but unfortunately haven't had a chance yet. Lord of the Rings, War of the Ring, my number 4. At number 3, I've got Netrunner. This has a particularly special place on this list because it is one that I have tried in the past, but it seems like I really need to go at it again because a lot of people have posted, especially on my 2-player game videos, that why isn't Netrunner on here? And the fact is, I just don't know enough about it. I hadn't played it very much. I'm not a huge fan of living card games in general, but everybody raves about this thing. And unfortunately, the one time I played, it just wasn't a good experience. So I would love to have an opportunity to play some more and really see what everybody is ranting and raving about and saying is so amazing with it, because I'm sure it is, and I would love to get in on the action. So with that, Netrunner, or Android Netrunner particularly, is my number 3. At number 2, I've got Root. This is another asymmetry heavy game, but it's a little bit different in that it's a more fantastical world. You've got, you know, your forests and your trees and your talking animals and all this kind of thing, but apparently it's just about the greatest thing since sliced bread, as are all of these other games, because that's what people tell me. And reading up on it, again, it sounds like a game that I would truly enjoy. I love the idea of asymmetry, people working towards different goals, actively working against each other or towards each other, depending on what the situation calls for. It just seems like it's a very well done game. And again, this whole asymmetry thing really seems to be a cool theme that's coming up, which I really enjoy, because it really does a lot to increase replayability and all that kind of stuff, but it's neither here nor there. Root, though, is my number 2. At number 1, I have A Feast for Odin. This is a huge game that is tremendously expensive, but everybody says it's so easy to play. It has all these great mechanics and it all works together amazingly well. And I'm just like, how? How can it do that? And I don't know, because I haven't played it. And I'm so mad because I really want to play it. But honestly, the biggest issue for me is the cost. And I know that there's several people that are in my gaming group who own it and have played it, but a lot of them they don't come to the game nights and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm just like, I want to play, not to mention you guys all telling me how amazing it is. So it's been on my list for a long time, but that's why it's number 1, because I really want to play it. Feast for Odin, my number 1. Well, folks, that's going to be it for me. I hope you enjoyed this top 10 video about the games that I really need to play. And let me just say very sincerely, thank you all so much, because honestly, this video in particular, as well as my channel in general, wouldn't be possible without all of you guys. If you weren't suggesting all of these great new games, then I wouldn't have such a huge list of all the stuff that I really want to play. So I am so grateful for it, and I just love that I got to do something like this, and it's truly fun. And of course, as always, let me know in the comments below what all of these other games are that I'm still missing out on, because there's still plenty, I know it. And of course, if you haven't done so already, please take a look at all my various social media pages, as well as my Patreon page. On those, you'll be able to interact with myself, my channel, and all sorts of other cool stuff, or do all sorts of cool stuff. And so it would be great to have you on all of that. But with that, thank you so very much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.